listener. Welcome to the Deep Share Podcast. I'm your host, Andy Rouse, and for the last couple of decades, I've slowly been opening my eyes to a very different world than the one I grew up hearing about. And the more conversations I have with interesting people, the more mystifying this world becomes. So without further ado, let's get deep.
We've got science to celebrate! Demons bliss now! After what, baby? Come on!
There is rebellion in the wind. It will be crushed.
Everything I've said is true. It's real.
Dinosaur fossils? God put those here to test our faith.
A damn lie. I saw them with my own eye.
Did IQs just drop sharply while I was away?
We did illusions, man. None of it is true.
I'm not insane.
This is mass madness, you maniacs. In God's name, you people are the real thing. We are the illusion.
We're here with Dave Weiss, aka Flat Earth Dave. Dave, how you doing?
Hey, I'm doing great, man. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for coming on. Really appreciate it. I've been seeing you in a lot of places lately, and the word's getting around, and I've been kind of avoiding the flat Earth topic for a while,
Like the plague.
Right, of course, right. And I've always been open-minded about it. I'm not even scared to say that. It's just that, like, my biggest thing is that, like, I don't want to make any suppositions about what's going on, and so I'd rather talk to someone like you who's clearly gone way out of his way to do the research. And so I know what we're going to lay the groundwork for a lot of people that only have gotten the bad info on it, the Google directed information,
Correct.
And of course, I'd like to lay that groundwork for my audience that isn't familiar and just has always just simply rolled their eyes, just like you used to.
Yep.
But yeah, I'd like to later on definitely get into more of the why is this happening and why is this going on, because I think that's something that
why is it important? What
Yeah,
difference does the shape of the Earth make?
Yeah, and I definitely want to get into that for sure.
Sure.
So, but yeah, let's get into it. How did you start on this? Because I know for a fact that you didn't start as a flat earther. You had to come to it at some point, right?
Well, we all started as flat earthers, and then we were taught that the Earth was a spinning ball through a space vacuum, which is just nonsense. How I got into it, I was actually doing a conspiracy podcast about a lot of deceptions that were happening in the world. And some fans started saying, "Hey, Dave, have you looked into flat Earth?" And first I thought it was a joke. Then they kept on coming. And I banned people from our social media for even suggesting that I watch a 1-minute video. I'm not going to do it. It's stupid. It's the dumbest thing ever. You have to be a moron to think the Earth is flat, right? I mean, I wouldn't look. Close-minded. Conspiracy podcast host, close-minded.
Yeah, you run into more of that than you think,
Yeah. And then I was forced to look, and I went in with a closed mind. I said, I'm just going to prove it ridiculous and put an end to this nonsense. And that's how you become a flat earther. When you start understanding what your model is, the people that defend the flat earth, the people that call you a moron have no idea. You can ask them simple questions like, how fast is the Earth spinning? They don't know it's spinning 1,000 miles an hour at the equator and slower other places. How fast is it orbiting? They have no idea. 66,000 miles an hour. How fast is it chasing the sun? I didn't know the sun was moving. They don't know anything about the model they defend. It's chasing the sun at over 500,000 miles an hour, but somehow nothing changes, right?
Right.
And then the other part is they don't know their own model, and then they think the flat Earth is something that it's not. They're like, what are we the only we are pancake planet, and all the other the planets are round? Well, no flat earther believes any of this. No flat earther believes that there's pancake planets. No flat earther believes that we're a pancake floating in a space vacuum. So before anybody reacts to this, look at the facts on both sides, then make up your mind.
Right. And so many people choose not to do that.
Yeah, so many. And it's because our entire world belief has been wrapped around a globe before we could talk. And and once you have that core belief as a child, before you develop all of everything is wrapped around that core belief. I mean, if you have a newborn baby, it just or just imagine somebody, a grown person, being beamed in this world, knowing nothing. All they know how to do is stand and drink water. Okay, they look around. They're not going to be able to put anything together. It's going to take them a while to build a world view. And then if the foundation of that view, someone comes up to you one day and goes, "Oh no, it's all wrong." People have a hard time dealing with that. People say, no matter what I show you, flat earther, you're never going to change your mind. Well, no, I already changed my mind. I changed my mind based on new information. You're the one that is having a hard time changing your mind based on new information. Here's the thing. Nobody can look at flat earth, honestly, and not become a flat earther, not become a globe denier, because the truth is, we don't know what this place is, but it isn't a globe flying through a space vacuum.
Yeah, I feel like I run into the problem for myself. The main problem for myself is I don't trust these people at all already. You know what I mean? I come from,
come on. They're out here for your own good. They're here to make sure you're healthy.
Yeah,
stay home. Don't get any sunlight. Don't go to the gym. Go to the liquor store. That's fine. Don't go to the gym. Lose your business, right?
Shop
Drive
at
your
our
landlord.
stores.
Don't pay your rent, but that's okay. You can still stay there and make your landlord go broke too. All these things. That's fine. That's fine. They're here for your health.
That's
Don't
the thing.
take vitamin D.
Yeah, no, of course not. Everywhere you look, they are lying about things, and I've already accepted that. Many of us have already accepted that.
Yeah.
But it's this extra step, and I wonder if it's do you think it's like for a lot of people, it's like the finality of knowing for sure that is settled? You think that kind of freaks them out? Because like it's the things that you show are pretty damn hard to mess with, you know what I mean? Especially like the distance with the high powered scopes. Like people can't just, people still come to you and just try to say it's refraction still?
Oh my God. They try everything that they really have no arguments. But I mean, refraction, it's like we show them a mountain that is here's an example. This is a really good one. This is a famous viewing spot in Illusion, France. And they're looking out over the ocean. You see this nice horizon here. And out here is Mount Canigou, 175 miles away. Now, if you go to the Globe Earth calculator, not our calculator, the Globe Earth calculator, and say, all right, from this viewing height, the top of Mount Canigou is, I don't know, 3,000, 8,000 feet, whatever it is. It says the top of that mountain should be a mile below this curvature. So the light that's bouncing off of the mountain is not bright enough to push through 175 miles of atmosphere, and you can't see it. It looks like sky. But a couple days a year when the sun lines up on its journey in between the tropics, it lines up with this mountain. And the sun's light is much more powerful than reflected light off of a surface. And it lines up and it backlights the mountain. You can see the entire mountain. And the top of this mountain should be a mile below a physical horizon, which this is not. This is an optical horizon. All right? It should be a mile below it. But it's not. It's right there. And they'll tell us, oh, the sun is already set. The mountain is, miles below the curvature. The top of the mountain's a mile below, but it's refracting up and stopping right at the height of your eyes. And I say, cool story, bro.
What's the best argument that you've heard against this? Like, have scientists tried to or of course they don't want to debate most of the time, but like, what's the explanation on the other side to this statement here? I mean, there has to be, they always come back for more. You know what I mean?
The best argument the Globe has is you're a retard and you live in your mother's basement. That's their best argument. Yeah,
fair enough. I was just wondering if there's a degree of it can only refract this much, or it should be able to refract that much or something.
It magically refracts up and then stops right at eye level. It doesn't go up higher.
See, that's the problem that I've noticed. This isn't necessarily a question, but just because I've tried to remain very objective on this, because
we're going to end that today, my friend.
Dude, from my psychedelic experiences,
Very good.
I put in question this whole physical situation I'm in, to be honest. So I mean,
This is what I
I'm
call it. I
okay
think
with
we're
where
in
you
a
are,
we're in
but
a physical simulation.
I believe that's true too. I just don't like the word simulation because I
Me
feel like
neither.
that's very psyopy, isn't it? It makes you
Yeah,
think of a computer, you
yeah,
know?
I know, but there's so much like when we look at the sun, we all see the sun and the moon and the stars in a position relative to our own position. It
Yeah,
moves.
I've heard you
Okay.
talk about this. Yeah, go
Yeah.
ahead.
And
Yeah.
you ever look out like over the water when they're, or anywhere where you see the crepuscular rays where the sun comes in splayed out, right?
Mhm.
No one's ever seen the sun come in. They tell us the sun's 93 million miles away and the rays come in parallel, but no one's ever seen parallel rays. But here's something weird. So, and I'm trying, it's really so difficult to do these observations and actually film them. But, I'm down on the water a lot, and a lot of times I see the sun shooting rays out like this on a cloudy day. And you'll see this bright spot on the water. But I'm like, hey, the sun is already way past where I'm seeing it. And if I went out there, that person's not going to be right underneath the sun. It's going to be farther out for them.
Right.
Okay. So somebody did this already, and I need to do it myself. I can see a boat go out here, go right into the sun ray and be completely lit up. But if I got on a cell phone with that person, they'd be like, no, I'm not in that sun ray. I'm in the shade. That
Yeah,
sun ray is,
very
is
weird.
over there.
Mm.
So what the heck is that? Right? That the word simulation comes back into frame a little bit.
It does.
So,
it does.
when we look up and see like the moon, they tell us the moon is 238,000 miles away.
Mhm.
But in reality, you look at the moon on if you're away from city lights, and there's some clouds in the sky, you'll see that the moon is only lighting up the clouds that are right near it. Okay. And if it was 238,000 miles away, it should light up all of the clouds in the sky, but it's only lighting up the ones that it's right near it, kind of like it's a local light,
Mhm. Yeah.
and then somebody farther down the road would see the cloud lighting up the moon lighting up other clouds.
Mhm.
They wouldn't see it lighting up the same clouds that I'm seeing.
So okay, I just thought of something, and I'm sure you've thought of it. So help me out here. The image of the astronaut on the moon there. I've heard you talk about it. Like, look at how bright the moon is. From our
Yeah.
perspective, how in the world could they even take this picture if it was blinding light like that? But doesn't that isn't it the same thing as you looking out at the boat and you can see a ray of sunlight on the boat, but the person on the boat can't?
Well, that's a little different because there's a thing called the inverse square law of light. And it's the same thing with the inverse square law of light says every time you half the distance to a light, it gets 4 times brighter.
Okay.
Okay. So you're looking up at a full moon. It's, a full moon on a clear night is, 20, 30 lumens. I don't know how you can read by it. You can drive your car with the lights off. But let's give the moon the globe, every possible benefit. Let's call it 1 lumen. And if you go halfway to the moon, it's 4 lumens. And you cut that in half, it's 16 lumens. You cut that in half, it's 64 lumens. You keep on going until you're about 100 miles from the moon. And it's something like 10 million lumens or something. It's so bright, it would melt your face off. Okay.
Okay.
It makes no sense whatsoever. The brightness that it would have to be to make it all the way back to Earth to be bright enough to read a newspaper by it. Not that you should ever read a newspaper. Is ridiculous. None of the numbers they say make any sense. Here's another example. Here's the moon. That's a light. That's close. Throw a bunch of cotton balls on your floor, turn the lights out, and try to light it up with a flashlight. Tell me how close you have to hold that flashlight just to light up just these clouds right here, and not these, not all of those. It's a close local light, and it's not a physical light. It's more of a projection. In my app under eclipses, the what about eclipses button, there's a couple videos in there that'll really bring this to light on how this is happening.
Oh, okay, cool. And I
Okay.
know you've talked about certain lunar eclipses as well, that there's a certain type of lunar eclipse where you can clearly
The
see the sun and the moon. So, no, 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 no,
Seleninian,
no. Yes,
cinnamon,
yes.
cinnamon. Yeah.
That's where
So
the
that's where the observer is on the top of the, you're always on the top from your point of view, and the sun and the moon are above the horizon. Well, if the Earth is eclipsing the moon, the Earth has to come within a line, in a straight line between those two. So from your point of view, one of them has to dip below the horizon, you know, for the Earth to come in. Well, there's over 50 documented eclipses where the eclipse started long before the sun and the moon drop down, and sometimes the eclipse comes in from the top. Well, it should come in from the bottom.
Hmm.
Okay, what's causing the eclipse? We can argue about that all day long.
Right.
What's not causing the eclipse? The Earth.
Hmm. So yeah, it's like we have an unknown there already. We can
Yeah,
leave it
there's a
alone
known
for now.
unknown,
Right,
a known
exactly.
unknown.
Yes. Okay, yes, yeah. Known unknown. So yeah, and I mean, looking at the moon and combining this with all the things that Crow 777 has filmed, it's like there's a lot going on here that isn't adding up. And they're kind of leaving Crow's shit alone. Like you can find it on YouTube, not his for some reason. I guess they just want to maybe suppress him, but like, I mean, you can see the lunar waves. They're not necessarily being suppressed or anything. You can find Eric Duvay's documentary level on YouTube. You may have to search for it on DuckDuckGo and get it. I get that. But I've been asking this question to a lot of my guests lately, and it's not directly about flat Earth, but I just want to hear your take on it. We can weave it into everything else. And that's, are they really hiding anything when you can access stuff, when we are allowed to see it for ourselves? Like, okay, fine. YouTube is banning everyone. So, okay, we'll go download a better app that isn't banning anyone right off of Google Play. It's like, it's all there. What's going on?
I think that there's a rule here, and Crow is in agreement with me on this, along with many,
I think
many
I
people,
might be too.
is that they can't deny or break our free will. They always have to tell us what's going on, give us a chance. They can't put a bear trap in the woods under the leaves and not tell anyone there's a bear trap there. They got to put a sign that says, hey, there's a bear trap in there. And if you're too stupid to go step in it, that's all on you, right? They're not allowed to break our God-given free will. They don't want us to know that. So, are they making it difficult? Yes. Is it still there? Sure. Are they deleting tons of videos? Absolutely. On my app, I have my archived videos from all of the months for the last 2.5 years. And I just went through it the other day, and I had to remove like over 100 videos that have been deleted by YouTube. Okay. Flat Earth videos. What are they deleting flat Earth videos for? Yeah. If they publicly took us out, bam, that might cause a bigger problem. But they take them out, and then they don't even let you know they took them out. They now take the placeholder out. But the way my website pulls them up, it was holding the placeholder, so I could see the ones they videoed. Like, because if I have like 500 videos and they remove 6 of them, like, am I going to notice? Wow. You're not going to notice. You're going to forget. Right. So the information's out there, but just try Googling. Go Google. Don't do this, but go on YouTube, Google flat Earth. And you're going to get all propaganda. Professor Dave, who's not a professor, he's a shill. He's working, to deceive people. You're going to get Byman Dan, who is just this pompous, dirty troll who just showed up out of nowhere, get 500,000 subs, and he does these snarky videos. He will never debate us live. He will never come on a live show with us because we'll absolutely destroy him. Or Neil deGrasse Tyson, the high priest of scientism, he says, there's no time to talk to flat earthers. You don't need to talk to flat earthers because it's already been proven. Okay, yeah, where's your proof? Won't show us anything. Won't talk to us. And then every time we expose one of their lies, he just moves the goalpost farther out. Right? First they said, well, you can see the curve from an airplane. Then we're like, nope, no, you can't. It's, oh, you have to go in 70,000 feet in a MiG fighter. And then they show us a video of that. And we show how they're looking through curved glass, but on this one camera that wasn't looking through curved glass, you can see the horizon flat at eye level. Is it, well, you're not high enough. Wait, you have to go to, Felix Baumgarten, Baumgartner or whatever his name is. he did the Red Bull space jump, right?
Right.
You remember that?
Yes.
And he saw the curve. And here's the curve he saw. This is planet New Mexico, because all of this land is New Mexico.
Yeah.
Right.
I never.
So then
liked
we
this.
expose that, and Neil comes out and goes, Felix, he didn't see the curve. It was a fisheye lens, and he explained the whole thing because he had to own it. You have to be higher than 127,000 feet. How much higher? Okay.
Yeah. How much
it makes
higher?
no sense.
Also,
people
before
say,
you
well,
move on, I've seen a
Go ahead.
picture where this rocket, or the rocket, but his balloon, the capsule itself, the logo was in a completely different spot. I mean, that picture could
Oh,
just
yeah,
be fake, but I don't know. It looked
they
pretty.
did two
pretty
other
spot on.
jumps before that. He did
Oh,
two other
okay.
that were not with GoPro, and they were showing. They showed. They must have mixed up some of the footage or done it on purpose.
Maybe.
I mean, the whole thing's, every time you see anything from space, like Richard Branson the other day in space, it's all a movie. It's all a movie. It's all pre-recorded. It's all nonsense.
Right. It looks so fake.
Okay?
It must be real, right?
Yeah, it looks so fake. It must be real. You
Right.
can tell it's real because it looks so fake. We'd have
Right.
better
There it
CGI.
is. Yeah, there it is.
Right.
Oh man. So I want to kind of get into the distance. What could I guess I'm just blown away by the distance shit where you look through the high powered scopes. It doesn't that to me it doesn't add up. So what are people saying in the camp where they're like, maybe the earth is just way bigger than we're told, but it's still got to be a globe. It's still got to be a globe.
Yeah.
Like there's got to be that camp, I'm assuming.
So the problem is the whole globe model is all of their calculations are based on the radius of the earth. How did they discover the radius of the earth? And the answer is, well, Aristophanes figured it out 2,000 years ago with his sticks and shadows experiment. The only problem with that is that experiment doesn't work. It works on a flat earth also. So he just made an assumption, if it's even a real experiment. Aristophanes did his sticks and shadows and figured out his buddy was, 500 miles away. And he said, all right, here's no shadow here. You got your parallel rays coming in, and he's got a shadow here. Did some perfectly good math, figured out the sphericity of the ball. Carl Sagan put it, brainwashed us like he figured it out within 2%. That's pretty good, right? But the problem is on a flat earth with a small local sun, here's Aristophanes, here's his buddy. He's got his angles. Do the same math. You can figure out the sphericity of this flat plane, right?
Mhm.
Math is not reality. Math is math. Okay.
Yeah.
And if your variables are wrong, then your outcome is going to be wrong. Why Aristophanes figured that the earth was, that the sun was sending in parallel rays when no one's ever seen parallel rays, I don't know. I think it's just a story that was inserted in into books in the mid 1900s.
Sagan also did another thing, which was completely discredit and kind of destroy publicly people's perception of a man named Emmanuel Velikovsky. And he was the, purveyor of electric universe theory and things like that. And, a lot of that rings true, or at least the experiments that are happening with electric universe theory are really impressive with some of the groups that are getting together. That actually came up last night on one of my podcasts, that we were talking about creating a sun in a, that kind of thing, all the stuff that the Thunderbolt Project is doing and things like that. How does electric universe theory perhaps bump into
like those
flat
guys.
Earth?
Yeah, those
Okay.
guys they're right. A lot of the stuff that they're talking about is right. They just unfortunately haven't unwrapped themselves from the ball. I mean, their stuff works perfectly on a flat earth. We live in an electric magnetic world where the only true forces are electricity and magnetism, period. That's it. Okay. That's what's going on here. Gravity is not gravity due to mass. Gravity is electrostatic charge of the earth. The earth has a measurable negative charge to it. It will attract everything towards it with a weak force, just like they say gravity's weak, right?
Right.
But then we can counteract that force with electricity. You've seen those little triangle things. These guys, you put negative charge it and it goes up, right? What's it defying? Gravity or the negative charge of the earth? And it's defying the negative charge of the earth.
This is crazy.
Yeah.
And the more we proceed forward, like in like other areas too, I'm very interested about like all the energy that people are talking about from like large structures, like geometric structures like the pyramids, and what the electromagnetic frequencies or all that kind of stuff is happening at the same time as electric universe theories being explored. And all, it's almost like spirituality is finally bumping closer to science than it has in a long time. Do you feel that way too?
Absolutely. If you understand how big this lie is, it's such a huge lie that we think that we're at the top of intelligence, in all of civilization. We're just getting smarter and smarter. We're literally, I used to say, one step away from idiocracy. We're literally becoming idiocracy.
Oh, it's bad.
Right? That is where we are. If you go back and look, in the 1800s, they had free energy technology. There was a worldwide civilization here called Tatari. Are you familiar with that?
Yeah, I actually just spoke to someone about it last week. It was great.
So Tataria, you start looking into that. Let me share my app. I want to just show you if anybody wants to see where to go to see stuff on the app. If you click the web button on the right there in the middle, in the center is the lost history of flat Earth right here. You see my mouse? Bam.
Mhm.
If you watch those videos, you're done. You're finished. Okay. You will never look at the globe again. There's the first video in there. If you click that, up comes this. You'll hit open YouTube, and the top video, 5 hours. My YouTube channel, DITRH. I don't go over 5 minutes. All my videos are just a couple of minutes long because I understand people have short attention spans. So when I was sent this, when I first saw it, I was like, oh man, I'm not going to watch that. So, I'm going to watch 10 minutes of it. Then I watched the 10 more minutes, and then I watched the entire thing. And I've watched it 3 or 4 times since then. Okay. It is a life changer. This guy put this stuff together, flat Earth, Tataria, it's all together. And once you see it, you'll understand that I will say you'll definitely know more than you did at the beginning, but you'll also know that you don't know more than you thought you didn't know. Okay.
Mhm. That's always the
So
lesson.
much. I'm telling you, that will blow your mind. And again, when you search flat Earth, you'll find nothing. You'll find propaganda by the shills that I mentioned. But the app the Flat Earth Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app will show you where everything is. It's my app. It's how I support myself. It's how you can support me, but don't do it to support me. Do it to support yourself. Just go read the reviews in the App Store, and you'll see it's the highest rated app in the Apple Store and the Google Play Store.
Wow.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Every day there's a new video that shows up down here, featured video. Tap that. If you want to go to the old ones, hit the archive button. And I just say, I have a challenge. I have offering 3 Bitcoins for 1 proof of the globe, but you have to watch the daily video every day for 2 weeks. And then if you still think the Earth is a globe, before you send me your proof, hit the question mark, and up come all the questions you're going to ask. What about eclipses? What about gravity? What about seasons? Seasons actually prove the flat Earth. And if you click any one of those, up comes a playlist, all the videos that YouTube will not serve you. And there you go.
Wow, that's a great app, man. Like,
It's
put together an incredible
super
app.
good. And also it's got all sorts of pictures and stuff in here. Like when you're trying to explain flat Earth to somebody,
Mhm.
you can show them what's going on. Look, this is where we live. The Earth is not a disc in space. We live in the pond, and Antarctica is the shoreline of our pond.
See, this is an interesting image, and this is one that people don't normally see. Of course, they see just the flying disc, but
Right.
this brings up another idea, and I'd love to get your take on what you think of the concave Earth theory, the idea of a golf ball of some sort. I know we kind of brushed on the idea of people trying to remain in the globe camp, but this is a little different. There's quite a bit of research going on over there, and a lot of people are kind of proposing a weird thing there.
Yeah, the problem I have with the concave Earth is it doesn't allow you, there's no curvature. Like if the Earth was concave, the farther we zoom in, we'd zoom right into the water. Instead, we're zooming in, we're seeing things farther and farther and farther.
Right. Okay.
They want us in a prison. The prison is a ball. Here's a map that discovered 10 centuries ago. showing all these extra continents outside Antarctica. What's that about? Right.
And then
Think
that
about that.
harkens back to, that kind of
Yeah.
reminds me of Admiral
And-
Byrd, of course.
Absolutely. But
what
people
he's-
say, Antarctica is off limits. Well, all of these islands these are all owned, they're controlled by the crown, and no one's allowed to go anywhere. Remember the Falklands War? Do you remember that? Or maybe you're too young.
I've
That
heard
was
about it,
all,
though.
who's fighting this Falkland Island? It's all because they needed these posts, these islands out there to guard Antarctica. Antarctica is off limits to everybody.
Right. Unless you get, a lengthy science degree and you end up getting indoctrinated that way and you end up there rarely, or
yeah, I mean,
and you're only allowed like in a certain area anyway, like McMurdo and a few miles around that.
Right. And we've talked to people that work there. One guy, I think the video is called Confessions of an Antarctic Plumber. He was a plumber on Antarctica for over a year, and he didn't know anything about flat Earth. But when he came back and we talked to him, he's like, yeah, it makes perfect sense. Right. So
interesting. That's
so again,
creepy.
yeah.
We
So
hear
the
a lot
the
about Antarctica.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, no
no
problem. That's it. That basically that's all I want to show you on the app. So it's
Cool. That's
so
awesome,
it's
man.
cool. It's literally the only way to learn about flat Earth.
Mhm.
And I'm also adding a new feature where you're going to be able to find other people that have the app near you. You'll be able to see where every app user is in the world, only if they opt in. They can turn it on and turn it off and disappear. It's not
Fair
tracking you.
enough.
Matter of fact, your phone is tracking you, whether you want it to or not. The
Yeah.
people that you don't want tracking you or track you. This is going to help find other flat earthers. That's a good thing. Okay.
I'm just a side note. It's fun that like we kind of have to admire their tactics in a way and just use them for good. Sometimes
We are going to use them for good. This flat Earth friend finder is going to be a game changer, because imagine this. Like, say you're I don't know. I won't say it too loud, but you're a flat earther. Okay. You're traveling in a strange city and in your own city. You're like, hey, I'm gonna go grab a beer somewhere. You pop on the app and you go, hey, there's 3 flat earthers over here in the gin mill or whatever. And you go and you're like, hey, I'm the guy wearing the backwards cap. You can message them. You can tap on the dot and send them a message.
That's great.
And so
and
it's a great way to find other flat earthers.
I would say to anyone that disagree and rolls their eyes at something like that, but because it's flat Earth and all that, even in the conspiracy community, like think about that. You're always so hard pressed to find anybody willing to question anything. If you find a flat earther around, hell yeah, have a beer with them, whether you're a flat earther or not. Ask some questions, have a good time. You know?
I'm offering 3 Bitcoins for 1 proof of the globe. You think this is stupid? How stupid do you think it is? Claim your 3 Bitcoins. It's over 100 grand. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Claim your 3 Bitcoins. 1 proof of the globe, not 10, not 20, not 50, just 1.
So, but the thing is, it's like, how many people have turned their answers in, and then you've been like, sorry, nope, play again. And they just go, wait a minute. No, wait a second.
People are like, I'm not going to even send you a thing because you're just going to say it's fake. I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm going to show you why it's fake. Right. Well, what about the astronauts on the space station? Well, if you catch them lying once like this with this fake lemon, CGI
this is what
lemon,
I wanted to get to, man.
Yeah. CGI. Look at the hand, goes right through the lemon. It's a augmented reality object, right? These guys are faking.
Look close, everybody.
Yeah.
This is NASA, and this is just one of so many examples.
One of many, many.
Dude, so this is something interesting, how for a long time, these videos are just kind of like all over the internet for a while, the old days with YouTube. And there was just no one was saying a damn thing about them. No one still does. Like NASA tries to make all sorts of excuses for itself up there for other things, but the examples that we always find that you guys are showing, they don't say a damn, they never try to like say anything against it. Like, is it that not enough people are watching this, or do you think people are seeing it and think it's just a weird coincidence, digital thing that I don't understand maybe? So I'm just,
they realize that if they give it attention, it just gives it more energy. So they just refuse to answer. Their best argument is none. Just ignore us. Mm-hmm. And then, we're just stupid flat earthers,
Right there. Yeah. He grabs the horn. I've seen this one before. And it's just like, what else other than what we think it is going to be? And of course, the skeptics will just say, well, so there you go. You're just using anecdotes. That's all there is. It's like, well,
Know what their
dude,
best
come
argument
on.
is now? Their best argument is, they're wearing the harnesses for safety.
Mm,
What?
right.
In
The
zero G
invisible
planes,
harnesses.
invisible harnesses for safety.
Right. No, that would just be that would be another topic for them to talk to the kids on TV about, and how they put the harnesses on. They wouldn't be
Yeah.
making them invisible. Oh my God.
There's
just
so many
crazy.
videos, and YouTube is literally eliminating these one by one,
Mhm.
slowly, but we've got them all backed up, and the app will save you, 500 hours of research will yield you maybe 2 hours of good content, but
Mhm.
500 hours of research on the app will yield you 500 hours of awesome content.
So maybe you can answer this one, because I guess this is where my camp is right now. Again, keeping in mind, I'm willing to question this whole friggin' place, so it's okay. But I guess my contention would be, to play devil's advocate, would be maybe the flat Earth revelations are revealing something, maybe not exactly what we think it is, maybe not what the flat Earth model that you're showing us is, but something quite close to it. Maybe are you open-minded to that? Because I know I've heard you say you don't care what the shape is, but it's just flat. But I mean, is there any room at all for it to just be more than this? I mean, I guess
Sure,
not.
absolutely. Like, I think that we're inside a toroidal field. The toroidal field goes all the way around, kind of like an
Yeah.
apple, and we're on this plane in the middle. And
Mhm.
what's beyond us? I don't know. Maybe there's rings around us. Maybe
I like
there's
that.
other puddles beyond us, right?
Mhm.
I love the. I think it's more likely something like this, right? Where
Ooh.
our sun is circling here. We got another sun out here. Maybe that sun's called Mars. Maybe its moon is Venus. Who knows? And out
This
here,
is
another
so
sun, maybe
interesting.
that's called Saturn, and its moon is Jupiter. All right. So these are in the outer space. Okay. Or maybe there's just other puddles. We have our puddle right here, and then out there is another puddle. Maybe it's only 10,000 miles away or 100,000 miles away.
Mhm.
Right. A whole nother world.
Right. And
Okay.
it could easily explain extraterrestrials, or what we call
Extraterrestrials could be coming
extraterrestrials.
from just out here, right?
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
you wake up in the morning, you're an alien that lives out here. You're like, hey, I gotta go to Australia and abduct somebody, honey. I'll be back. And you go, you abduct somebody, you probe them, and you're making time home in time for dinner. You're not traveling light years through an infinite space vacuum. You're
Mhm.
just traveling, I don't know, 10, 20,000 miles. You turn
Right.
around, you go back.
And maybe I'm going way out there, but the idea of xenophobia itself, and like the idea of the foreigner, like it's all, we could say that maybe we're gearing up for what that really means. It's like, okay, yeah, you can play with a bunch of different nations together, and humans are going to focus on how they look different than each other for a long time, and eventually they're going to have to evolve away from that bad thinking and grow up and work together and realize they're all one, because then they're going to have to accept the idea that there's really weird people out there that look completely different. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know. Something to consider, I guess. My mind is spinning.
Speaking of spinning, right? We're supposedly spinning and corkscrewing in all these different directions, but nothing moves. We can make things perfectly balanced. It's insanity. Check this out. This is the hypersonic sled. It's going to go by at Mach 8.6. You ready? Did you see it?
Yeah.
Here it goes again. This is Mach 8.6. Okay.
Holy shit.
You have
So
to
that
believe.
must be so far away.
You have to believe, okay, that the Earth is orbiting the sun 10 times faster than that.
Shit. And it's all relative, so it's okay.
You're chasing the sun at 90 times faster than that. I forget.
Yeah.
Okay. All of these things are going on, but the oceans don't slosh around. I mean, these things are so ridiculous, out of sorts, that your mind just melts, right? All of these actions are going on. This thing's going in a straight. Imagine if that track was curved. The forces that would be going on. We're going 10 times faster than that around the sun, and we're chasing the sun 90 times faster than that, and we have lakes that look like this. Okay.
Right. Yeah, weak gravity.
Does any
as
of that
well.
make any sense?
No.
Here's the thing. Can we there's so many things that prove that we're not on a spinning ball. There's so many things that say, hey, it's flat. Okay. But this makes no sense. Look at this. Right? Try taking a dinner plate filled with water and walk in a circle. Just walk. Just try to move it. Okay? Try to move it.
Right.
It's not going to happen.
But they say, of course, the argument against that, right, is that, an object in a vacuum behaves differently, I guess, or is that what they say?
No. Speed is speed. Like, hey, how come when I'm sitting on an airplane, I can't drink a glass of water, or I can walk to the bathroom? I'm like, well, double the speed of the airplane and then remove the outside of the shell and then tell me how it's going. Right? Because you're on the outside of a ball, there's no covering on you, and you're flying in 4 different directions at once. None of that makes any sense. None of it makes any sense. You should fly off the earth at the equator.
Right. Yeah.
Okay? You're spinning 1,000 miles an hour and dropping. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Well, it only goes around once a day. You can't see the hand on a clock moving. I'm like, extend that hand out 4,000 miles. Okay. And then move it around once a day and watch and try to keep up with the end of that hand. It's like being on the fast merry-go-round thing for adults at the carnival where the outside horses go super fast. It's super hard to stay on that thing. You asked about the size of the earth. So we're talking about their model needs a radius, and the radius of the earth is from the center of the earth to the surface. So that would be the radius. The radius is just under 4,000 miles. So if my arm is the radius, as it moves, right? There's curvature. This is the curvature, right? Because it has to remain at that same thing. So you can calculate the curvature, and that curvature is 8 inches per mile squared. That works for anything up to 1,000 miles, probably even more, but we don't need it for more than that because, in 10 miles, there should be a 66-foot drop according to globe math. Okay. So this is the radius, but we can see things super far, right? We can see things way, way, way beyond where their globe math tells us we should see them. Right. There's like this one's called the Black Swan, where the camera is a foot off the water. This is 9.4 miles away. There should be 59 feet of curvature, but there's not. And we can see the water for miles and miles beyond the rig. So using the distances that we can see, even without infrared, which sees even farther, we'd need a radius. Remember, this is 4,000 miles. We need a radius almost 250,000 miles to make a ball big enough to see that far.
Jesus.
If the earth is a ball, 250,000 miles radius, okay, that's infinitely larger than a 4,000 mile radius. There's a bigger problem because nothing else, everything else falls apart. All of the models, everything, all the distances to all of the planets, everything of it falls apart. There is no curvature. The earth is a flat plane. What is it resting on? I don't know. Maybe it's floating on water. Water's above, water's below. Who the heck knows?
Yeah, I did want to start getting into that real quick. The waters idea, because there's so much to that, not just from anecdotal evidence of like, is it bubbles? Is it I don't buy the paint chip thing that NASA says either. I mean, unfortunately, that's completely ridiculous too.
It's bubbles.
It really is. And but
here's the National Buoyancy Lab. This is where they do all of their training.
Right.
So they're doing training in a pool where water is trying to get into everything in space. All the atmosphere is trying to get out of your spacesuit. How come astronauts don't explode in space? Right? Take a water bottle on an airplane. Okay, and go up to altitude where the pressure barely changes. The bottle's ready to explode just because of the slight difference of pressure. Put it in a vacuum, it should explode. The astronauts in their little snowboarding suits, they should blow up like the Michelin State Puff Marshmallow Man.
That's kind of, I always felt that way.
Here is weird. Yeah, here is they do all this testing underwater, and what's this up here? This is their friggin' logo. You look at it, it's a Vitruvian Man with a rocket trying to break through the dome, a scuba diver handing him a power tool.
What?
Okay. This is in the National Buoyancy Lab.
I have not seen that image. That's so ridiculous. My God.
NASA is so ridiculous.
I know. And I've seen the footage where like, you know, some jackass is like carrying the camera through like the back end of some office or whatever. And there's the green screen of the same guy that you can see on the ISS.
Yes,
and
yes,
that's like,
yes, that was one of my videos.
whoa, how did they not try to put this on the news and make up something else about it?
They quickly did another video where they had them doing an experiment and they put the green screen behind them and they're like, oh no, we use this grid. They all of a sudden out of nowhere they started doing this stuff. There's many times where we catch them in their mistakes, and then they do this quick catch up. You know, they do this ridiculous explanations to try to cover their mistakes. For example, the astronauts were wearing the Super Bowl when the two astronauts were wearing the two opposing teams' jerseys in the space station. We're like, wait a minute. The last ship that made it up to the space station was like 5 months ago or whatever. It was months and months ago. At that time, there was still like 40 friggin' teams that were in the playoffs. How did they know which suits are going to be there? Literally a couple days later, this video a NASA video appears out of nowhere where the astronauts are unboxing a box of all of the jerseys that they got.
Right. Just like the third world countries get. Yes. NASA gets those too. How about that?
They got a box of all the jerseys, right? And that just showed up literally a couple days after we exposed them. You know, here they are in their pool. It's kind of green. And then they show us this.
Wait a minute. Their pool, like the inside of the pool, is actually that color green? Or what's going on there?
We caught them with green screens in the pool, right? And then they were asked, what are the green screens for? And they said, well, it's to make it more realistic for the astronauts. Wait a minute. The astronauts, I'm looking at, this is green right here. I don't see the image that's here. I don't see this. This is a green screen. Okay.
Holy crap.
Look, this is a green screen.
Right. Yeah. Forgive me. Like when I have seen you put that image up before on another podcast, I think it might've been Tinfoil Hat. And I assumed that you were showing it to be like, because the next image was, it went from green screen to space. So it went from underwater, green screen, space. And I thought you were just showing how it can easily be done. I didn't realize we've caught them with green screens in the fucking pool. Oh, wow. That's dangerous. That's
now
bad.
this doesn't look like a green screen to me. Like there was a video where they literally had the rolled up green screens, and
wow,
that's been removed from life, I guess, or from the history.
Excuse me. So go ahead.
No,
I was going to get into, I want to definitely cover like why the lie, because this is the important part and we need to go a step deeper than that afterwards, because there's more questions. But why the lie, Dave? Why the lie?
Well, there's two main things. It's all about control, because if I said, hey, you're no longer allowed to leave your neighborhood, would you be happy? No,
of course not.
If I put a fence around the United States, so you're no longer allowed to leave the United States, you're going to want to go to the other side. But on the equator, you can't go south of the equator. It doesn't matter where you put a fence. Humans is like, no, I want to go to the other side. So they put us in a prison for our mind, and that prison is the globe. So they're hiding more resources. They're hiding more land. They're hiding the creator, right? They're hiding more resources. They're hiding, the truth of our world. They're hiding how special you are. Okay. They don't want you to know that you're at the center of creation and that you are a truly powerful being and that nobody has control over you. The only control the government has over you is in your imagination. Because imagine everyone tomorrow morning woke up and go, I'm not going to listen to the government no matter what they say anymore. They're nobody to me. Well, they're done. We won't even hear from them because we won't even notice them. Right. But everyone believes in this small group of people that claim to be our overlords. And it's just a belief system. It's the same reason you think a dollar has value. It has no value. It's in your imagination. But luckily, other people have the same imagination and you can trade goods and services for it.
That's, you're speaking my language, man. I mean,
Yeah.
because from the spiritual, I guess you could call it, esoteric aspect of this, like we're coming to the same conclusions. And it seems to be the same conclusions that even like the Gnostics talked about in the turn of like the 1st century AD, whatever that may be. That's probably all, that's just made up dates anyway. But like these older traditions like have these similar themes in them, that we are powerful, and once you start exacting that personal power, you will definitely be persecuted and all that. Jesus is a great example, whether he's a literary, metaphorical allegory, whatever, or if he was a real man, or if he's a symbol of astrotheology, for Christ's sake, no pun intended. It can all, I don't know what to make of those different stories, but what I do know is that they're reaching the same conclusions with what you're saying. And I find that interesting that, across many faction lines, we do sort of seem to have kind of like a universal goal here, and like an idea of what might be going on, at least vaguely beneath the surface when it comes to their motives. Would you say it's more united than it is divided? Or do you think because of the fear of going towards the flat earth model, it's still very, very much divided? What do you think right now in 2021?
So ask the question again. Specifically,
I went
shorten that up.
I was like, take all of this and then answer this. Basically, I see a lot of different factions of thought coming at the same conclusions you are without necessarily going to flat earth. Why is that, I guess? Why do we have that same conclusion, and we can almost have full philosophies written out? There's so many people
see the flat earth,
right?
And some people don't see it.
I mean,
it's because they've done hats off to the elite. They've really done a number on people, making flat earth look ridiculous, making the ball, they're teaching kids about the globe before they can talk. Your parents probably gave you a mobile over your head. Your sheets are NASA sheets. Sesame Street has astronauts on there. Walt Disney, astronauts. It's all globe programming and everything. Then you go to school, your teacher's a god. They have a globe in the front of the class. One of the first worksheets you bring home is the orbits of the planets and the sun and the moon. I remember getting my sheet. I remember trying to figure it out, right? And the kids today still get that same worksheet. It's building a foundation around, this thing that it's such a big foundation that you don't even see it anymore. It's like the forest, and the trees, the analogy, where it's just something that's there. You don't know that it's there, and you won't even look at it because it's a given. It's a given, right? So there's so many people that are intelligent in their fields that just don't see it. But the thing is, once you see it, you can't unsee it. And it's hard to get people to look. They've brainwashed us to, flat earth, idiot, moron, imbecile, ridiculous, been proven over 2,000 years. It's not. Did you see my interview with Ruth, the 102-year-old woman?
Yeah, actually I did. I didn't know it was you at the time because it was a while ago, right? How long ago did you do that? Yes,
just before, just February 2020.
Okay.
And she, was such a great memory. I was interviewing her, not about flat earth, never mentioned flat earth to her. And her memory was so good. I asked her what school she went to, elementary school. She knew the name of the school, Hamden, Connecticut public school, street, teachers, kids' names. I said, what did they teach you about the earth? That's all I said. Not about the shape of the earth. They said, what did they teach you about the earth? She goes, they taught me the earth was flat, but then they changed it, afterwards.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that was in the 1920s. This globe lie is less than 100 years old. Okay.
Which also kind of brings in that redacted history idea with Tartaria and think like, how old 100%. Are things, Oh man. Well, I don't know what I man, I'm here with you. I want to say that I'm here with you. I just don't want to make any suppositions about that, because I feel like here, real quick, what do you think of this? I feel like this place is so deceptive. Whether it's a bunch of elites, I don't even know how to define that, like, and their cause for doing this, you know what I mean? But like
it's mind control.
Sure, but like, why do they
It's
need it? Especially if this is like
because
some
they need us
gorgeous
to
endless
be their
plane.
slaves. They need us to create the world that they want. I believe that the people that are running this world are soulless at this point. They've literally sold their souls for fame and power. And it's
Mhm.
our emotions, it's our thoughts, it's our desires that create the world around us. Everything you have in your life is because of the way that you think. You've manifested that stuff, whether you know it or not,
Right.
into your life by the way that you think. And
Mhm.
so they're using us to create the world that they want, right? I used to say, why do they need us to approve going to war? They have the keys to all the fighters, just go, right? But they need us to pound the war drums, and they did it with 9/11, and I pounded the war drums. I was ready with it. They got me, right? But
Yeah.
it's all done. This is all done by deception, all of it. But they need us. They can't break our free will. They don't want us to know that, and they literally tell us what they're doing, and then we're too stupid to say no, and that's just like saying yes.
Yeah, the whole revelation of the method concept, which is
100%.
freaky. Yeah, it reminds me this idea that they need us to be their slaves and then they need us to create their world for them. It's creepy because back in ancient Sumer, that was a detail that I always paid attention to in the stories about the Anunnaki. The Anunnaki the report is that work was too hard for them, and that we're beings of light or something, and the work is just too hard, and that's why they brought in the Ajiji or something, and the Ajiji rebelled, and then they had to create humanity to do it for them as slaves because they couldn't do it for them. So is that predictive programming from a much younger controlling force than what we're told, that was like 7,000-8,000 years ago?
Cool story, bro.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm going. Is this ancient predictive programming or something? What do you think of that?
I think it's a cool story. Here's the thing. We don't know
But
what
it
happened
matches up.
100
It
years
matches up to
ago.
our conclusion. It matches up
Right.
to, so
I don't just buy things that match our conclusion, because unless I
No, I
if
know,
it's
I
over
know.
100 years ago, when Ruth is gone, this history is gone.
Yeah.
We have very little time to pick the brains of these people. What's funny is right after I interviewed Ruth, the video was going viral. Everyone's like, I'm going to go to old age homes. Now I'm going to go, and then bam, every old age home in the world was shut down. No one could go there. I may be solely responsible for the lockdowns.
How about that?
Okay?
It's your fault. Everybody blame David
be.
Weiss.
It could be.
Oh man. Well, David, I really appreciate you coming on. This was really cool, man. This was enlightening. I'm glad we got to talk about where someone like me, who's still reluctant, for admittedly, I don't know why, mainly from my
I know why.
psychedelic experiences,
Because you're
man.
afraid of social shame. That's all.
Nah, man,
You're
right
just afraid
here.
of social shame.
I'm telling you, I'm
Listen,
willing to question this whole
you
damn
said to me,
physical existence.
You said to me
man,
before
I
the show that
promise.
you were going to play the devil's advocate, that you're a full-on
Little
flat
bit, little
earther,
bit.
and not to expose you. But
Yeah,
I'm exposing you
that's
right now.
Oh man, now the jig is up. The house of cards has fallen, man. But I appreciate it.
Here's the thing. Here's listen. If you want to just live your life in the way you're living it, just forget all of this. Don't do anything. If you want to be deceived, Google flat Earth. Just Google it, right? And then in a few minutes, you'll be like, oh, this is ridiculous. I'm done. You're out. But if you want to know the truth, get my app. It's $2.99, one-time charge. There is a subscription that you do not have to subscribe to. You still get everything that's in it right now, okay? And there's no commercials. There's no nothing, okay? Just check out the app. Check out the reviews on the app. Read the reviews in the App Store or the Google Play Store, and you'll end up becoming a flat earther just by reading the reviews, okay? It's the highest rated app in both stores. Check it out. It's a life changer. The Flat Earth Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app. Make sure it's by Blue Water Bay, because there's a Flat Earth Society, which is a disinformation place that has these type of people. It's called the Ron Media Group, who have tried to rip off my app, but they give you bad information. It's like a Flat Earth Society app, and you can get their app, but don't send me an email telling me my app sucks, because it's not my app. Okay. Just know that mine is, it's even with the trolls in there, I'm like a 5.9 rating, or whatever, 4.9, whatever the highest rating is. And it's by Blue Water Bay. You can just scan this barcode or just go to my website, theflatearthpodcast.com, and the links are there.
Awesome, man.
Check it out and just watch the daily video every day. If you have the app, make sure you turn your notifications on for FE Clock, because you get a little pop-up every day that tells you what the new video is. I do short ones during the week, longer ones on the weekend. So when you get up, having your breakfast, hit that button, watch that video, and you'll be like, fascinating.
A little flat earth with your eggs.
A little flat earth with your eggs. Absolutely.
All right, man. So before you go, for anyone out there, for all of us out here that do at least subscribe to the idea that we are being kind of kept down in some way, what's your best advice for those out there?
You know, people say, you know, Dave, with all the stuff going on in the world, what the hell are you talking about flat earth for? We have so much more to worry about. And the answer is, this is the most important topic, because the way they've gotten away with all of this tyranny and all of the stuff that's going on is by keeping us confused, by keeping us lost in space, spinning out of control on an infinite spec, the thinking that we are insignificant. You know, when we're having a flat earth conference in October called Flattoberfest in South Carolina, we have 500-600 people there. Amazing. Every single person there are awesome people. When you discover that you're not lost in space, that you're at the center of creation, that you are a powerful spiritual being, you change. There's people from all walks of life. Every single one of them are awesome people. They're like my new family, because I lost half my family over this, but that's all right. That's another story. But
I can understand.
You know, some people just aren't meant to wake up, and that's fine. That's fine. So so my advice is find truth. And this is the foundation. You can't find truth at the top of a ladder if the footing of the ladder is on a spinning ball. You need to find out where you are, who you are, what you are, and then everything else will fall into line. Everything else will just come together. So stop believing the lie, figure out where you are, figure out that you're on solid foundation, figure out how powerful you are, and then everything will come into place. I mean, my life changed tremendously since I've discovered flat earth, and all for the better. Right? Mm-hmm. You know, I've worked my way up through college, through corporate America, started my own company. Everything's going amazing. And then I walked away from it all. There was no way I would ever think I would do that, but I did. And here I am talking to you. I'm having a great time.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I had a great time too, man. I really appreciate you coming on.
All right. Thanks so much, man. See ya.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Deep Share Podcast. If you want to hear more, then hit that subscribe button. Follow me on all the social places. And remember, think for yourself, but don't always believe what you think. Till next time.
Human sacrifice, dogs and cats living together, that's hysteria. Enough, I get the point.
You have meddled with the primal forces of nature. And you will atone.
What do we know? What do we know? If I know what we know, then I can tell you what we know, and if someone else knows, okay? I mean...